evening, viewers, and welcome to the Art with World. I am your host, Arshad Waheed. Today, we are honored to be joined by a towering figure in Pakistan's cultural and architectural history, Mr. Naeem Pasha. Mr. Naeem Pasha is an architect, poet, painter, and visionary behind some of the most iconic public spaces in Pakistan, including National Art Gallery, Islamabad. He has spent more than 5 decades in redefining our relationship with art, design, and heritage. He is recipient of Tamgha Imtiaz, and his influence extends beyond buildings into literature, visual arts, and nurturing young talent. Welcome to our show, Naeem Pasha sir. How are you?
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, there are so many things we can talk about with you during this interview. As I know that you have a lot of interest in literature, in paintings, but first let's talk about your architectural contribution to Pakistan. And before going into all these areas, I would like you to tell us how you were drawn to architecture and design and how it evolved over time.
I was, I think, in 8th class in Aptabad. And my older stepbrother, who was about 25 years older than me, and my two cousins, his contemporary, they were all engineers working on two projects in Aptabad at that time, the Aptabad College and the Aptabad Hospital. And every month they would be sitting in our front lawn, the three of them, and would be talking about one person that they were so impressed with that I wanted to know who this person is. So one of the catchphrases my brother said, that when I told him that the column is coming in front of the door, and he said, in third dimension you won't see it like that. So this was a prophetic statement that this person made, that they were all talking about, and not this one weekend or 1 month, throughout this time that the buildings were being built and they were supervising. So I found out that it was J.R. Somji, who was the PWD architect from Karachi. He used to come every month to look at the progress.
Okay.
And he was the architect. So I didn't know what architect is at that time. So I said, I want to be that kind of an engineer that all these, my brother and my cousins are so impressed with. So I didn't know what architecture was all about. During this time, I had a hockey injury, and so I was lying on the drawing room sofa. And my brother passed by and he says, your middle exam is coming up and you're not studying, you're lying here. What are you going to be when you grow up? I said, I'm going to be an architect. And he said, do you know what an architect is? I said, no, I don't know, but I want to be an architect. He said, your glasses would be this thick, you would be all gray. It is not an easy profession. My mother was listening to this conversation. So when he left, so she said, why did you say such a big thing that we cannot send you to England and there's no school of architecture in Pakistan? We don't have that kind of money. So, she says, don't, speak beyond your limit. I said, okay, I'm sorry, but lo and behold, I did my FSC exams, and I came out of the door of our house, and we have an adjacent property, and I see these two young girls in shorts. One was about 6 foot tall, and the other was about 5'10" or something like that. I suppose American. They were American. And I am just probably 19 at that time, and my result is supposed to come out. So I decided to make friends with them. So I went, met the mother, met the younger sister, who was 6 foot tall. Found out their father was uh, uh, establishing a school of architecture in the Mio School of Art,
Ah,
which would become the National
National
College of
College of
Arts.
Arts. Yeah.
And right now he had gone to Dhaka to establish another school there. And this family was vacationing in Ahmedabad. And the professor of English, Fulbright professor of English, who was teaching at the Ahmedabad College where I was studying, his wife and him, they went to Gilgit and they left their 2 young daughters with this family to look after while they are gone. So my luck, I met J. Palmer Boggs, who was the professor from Oklahoma University. And I told him I want to be an architect. He says, I'll send you the syllabus, prospectus, everything, and I tell you what you need to do. I said, okay. So that was another luck that drove me into this direction. And so I came to NCA, took my exams and all this. Drawing, I used to draw and paint even when I was in 8th class. So I was familiar with drawing. Not trained by anybody, but naturally I could draw. So I passed with flying colors and I was admitted into NCA. 1 year on, Engineering University started the degree for architecture. And as you know, in our time especially, you listen to the elders. So my cousins, my uncles, everybody said, this is a diploma, that's a degree, go over there. Even though I loved being in NCA. But under the peer pressure, I went and joined the engineering university and lost 1 year of education. But that 1 year actually made me. That 1 year in NCA was more than 5 years in University of Engineering and Technology. So I would study there, but in the evening I was back in NCA with my old friends, and they are doing artwork and all that, and I'm part of that.
And that was also a kind of cultural center in Islam.
Oh
in
yeah,
Lahore,
oh yeah, it was.
Games Cafe and
It is probably still a unique institution in this Lahore.
And then you went to, after that you went to Pennsylvania University? In
Yes,
America.
I graduated in 67, 68 my father died, and he, like an old, British Empire residue, wanted me to have a government service. So as his death wish, I joined CDA.
CDA, okay.
As an architect, I joined, I worked for 3.5 years. Got really frustrated because I was not allowed to do any work, and without naming names. So I decided that if I leave, then it won't look good on the family that, oh, you can't keep a
Sustain.
job. So I decided to go and study abroad. So I took admission in Penn State and went and did my master's, and then worked for the remaining part of 5 years, working in different offices in Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, upstate New York. There, so we gained a lot of knowledge. So after 5 years, I had promised my mother I would not stay a day before 5 years, and so I came back.
Yeah, and you worked in United States as well for some time.
Yeah, I worked with different firms.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was told I should stay, and I had the green card, and that I should stay and I should look for a partnership. I said, who will give me partnership? I'll have to be playing 10 years of golf before anybody offers me. But if I go home, I can have a partnership the day I land. Everybody, we come from a culture where, everybody knows everybody, who's father and who's, and that's actually what I enjoyed most about America, that nobody knew who you were. So it doesn't matter what you did. nobody would say, oh, he's son of so and he did this, which is what we worry about here.
So was there something very specific you learnt in United States which you could not have learnt here at that time?
Environmental psychology
In architecture?
in architecture,
Yeah, okay, yeah,
man's behavior, relationship with space.
okay.
The theory is that, if you design this room and if you keep it 1 foot less or more, lengthwise, breadthwise, or if you change the shape of the roof, would it change the behavior of the people who use this space?
Okay.
Okay. And it's a question of, by measurable means, you are trying to measure the immeasurable.
Very
Human
interesting.
behavior, sociology of this room, I can't predict that would this interview be a nice, successful, without any echoes or without any, or it would give the atmosphere that it wants to give. I can't predict before I design it, but it can happen.
Okay.
So that is the major thing that environmental psychology was the most important, and which has paid dividends over the years in my practice.
And then you came back to Pakistan and you ran your own company and a partnership with...
I came back in 77 and I think February somewhere I came, and by July I had a partnership with Suhail and Shahid,
Yeah.
two guys who were junior to me in the UET. And they had just started a firm and I joined them. And it went well. One of them left, we were left the two of us. And we continued till 2000 or 1999 or something like that. And then we went our own way, and then since then I am on my own doing my work.
So what were the philosophical influences on you in the beginning? I mean, in terms of space, architecture, its relationship with our heritage, surroundings, environment?
I have always been very conscious of the fact that there was a debate even in the first year of architecture in NCA and the first year of architecture in UET, that we should have a Pakistani architecture,
Okay.
that we cannot have any other architecture. And then I was too young to realize that it's a much bigger question that is being asked from us who are the first batch of architects who would coming out of Pakistan trained.
Okay.
Before that, there were always people who went to England and did the RIBA, Royal Institute of British Architects, or they went to America and did, their master's degrees or that. Or there were architects at that time, 61, 62, 63, 4 or 5 architects who had a name in Pakistan were all from JJ School, Bombay. You see? So there was no school of architecture in the whole of East or West Pakistan. So we were the first one, and here assertion was that we should have our own identity. If you look at Pakistan even today at the age of 77, 76, it is still, to me, as a culturally an embryonic state. It is not even a fetus. It took 200 years for United States of America to establish some kind of an identity as a separate American culture other than British or German or...
Yeah, but you think this land was populated even before Pakistan was created, so there is a history of its areas, thousands of years.
That has been my problem.
Okay.
Since, overzealous people about the sanctity of Pakistan concluded that Pakistan came into being after Muhammad bin Qasim. And I am saying it is pre-Mohenjo-daro,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So my whole effort in terms of saying that we can viably have a subcontinental style,
Yeah.
maybe based in regions slightly different from each other, whether it is South India to North India or Pakistan or Bengal or Bangladesh. You can have regional separation.
Variations. Yes.
But the thing is that we are a civilization which is pre-Mohenjo-daro.
Of course.
And in any continuity, the chain links are very important.
Yeah.
If you break one link, the chain is broken. So if you say that we did not exist prior to Muhammad bin Qasim, you have broken a major portion of the chain.
Agreed.
If you say that pre-Mughal was nothing, you have broken a couple of links there. If you say there was nothing after the Mughals, you deny the British contribution to Indo-Pakistan subcontinent, you have broken the chain. So I believe in the continuity.
This is an evolutionary process, and we learn from.
I believe in the continuity. That every time era contributes, especially in terms of arts and literature and architecture. And architecture in many ways is much more solidly grounded, present on earth for hundreds of years.
Yes.
Books are there for hundreds and hundreds of years, but they are in a bookshelf. But architecture is a monument to your success or failure, either of a generation or of an individual. It is there.
Yeah. And then how would you define Pakistani architecture?
It's evolving.
It's evolving. So then would you say that there's one particular pattern of architecture in Pakistan which you would call like evolving Pakistani architecture, or you can say that in mountains in Gilgit-Baltistan it may have a different reflection, here in the plains it may have a different...
Of course, of course. You see mosques in Kashmir or Baltistan or Skardu, they don't have domes.
Yeah.
You see, they have pitched roofs. They might have a conical sort of something protruding from the, symbolizing a dome, but not dome, because architecture and the weather don't meet in the same language.
Yeah.
Over there that they meet over here. So there is difference, of course. Yeah.
Even Faisal Mosque doesn't have a dome. It's like a tent-like roof.
Yeah. I had just joined the CDA when this competition was taking place.
Okay, for the Faisal Mosque?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the jury came, and the whole thing was set in the State Bank building, which was Assembly building at that time, temporary. And all the things were displayed, and Abdullah Quran was from Turkey, the juror. And he looked at Vedat Daluke's drawings, the architect who designed this. He says, I know his croker pen strokes, so I won't judge this. See, so he bowed out of that. And the second entry was Iraqi, and the third was a Yugoslav.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Vedat Daluke won this competition. And, yeah. But he had already made a mosque, a much smaller mosque, exactly like this, in and around Ankara somewhere.
Okay.
So he had already this idea to have this tent-like structure to symbolize the concept of mosque or prayer.
So let's come to this your National Art Gallery, which is very important in Pakistan's architectural context and even otherwise, because it kinds of place where Pakistani art can be portrayed. So it also has a very interesting history. I mean, it spanned over like more than 2 decades working on it.
Well, more than 27 years.
Uh-huh.
You see, any architect's dream is to build a symbolic building, whether it is a mosque or a church or a synagogue or something, or a homage to art.
Yeah.
So I always wanted to design an art gallery, and what more can I ask if it is a national art gallery? In 1980, the national exhibition took place in Liaquat Hall by PNCA.
Okay.
And in the hallway they put up somebody sitting there and all that. Not very bad way of displaying, but anyway, it was national exhibition. And out of that exhibition, before Ziaul Haq could come to inspect, they took down about half a dozen or more paintings. Out of that was Zahurul Akhlaq, this guy, Zahurul Akhlaq's painting.
Colin David.
Colin David, Jamil Naqsh painting, Salima Hashmi's painting. So then I called Salima Hashmi, Zahurul Akhlaq and Ahmad Khan that why can't we open a contemporary art gallery in Pakistan? I have an office in Faizabad Chowk, Al Khadim building, and the front of it is empty. Only a corner has got a travel agent or something like that. So if we can acquire that, we can set up this. So we established the Rohtas Gallery in 1981
Okay.
and started having exhibitions. Our fortune was the diplomatic corps was very enthusiastic about this gallery. So nobody touched us. In one or two cases, they said, you know, according to income tax, you don't pay income tax on this. So fortunately, Bhutto Saab had a rule for art that anything less than 50,000 is not taxable.
Okay.
So in those days, the paintings were worth 2, 3, 4,000, 5,000. This was 14,000.
Oh.
It's now 3 crores. But then it was 14,000. Okay, so that saved us from, and so we could display whatever we wanted to, and we showed to the world that Pakistan's artistic expression is less than nobody. We are there with the world. And Rohtas Gallery, in its 10 years or 12 years, brought the students from NCA and other places, gave them the shows, and they got British Council scholarships or, you know, French scholarships or, you know, mostly British Council scholarship, and they came back and taught. Jamal Shah is one of them, Nazir Shataullah is another, you know, Rana Rashid, Shadiya Sikandar. Those became international stars.
Oh.
It is right around the time that the seed money that Zulfikar Ali Bhutto had given to the Pakistan Council of the Arts under Faiz Saab. It was established under Faiz Saab, the Pakistan Council of the Arts. And a certain amount was allocated for the project of National Theatre and National Art Gallery.
Okay.
It was in 81 that the competition took place under Ziaul Haq and Khalid Said Butt was the DG at that
Okay.
time. 5 architects firms were selected, which was Nayyar Ali Dada, Habib Fida Ali, Arkap, Naqvi and Siddiqui, and us,
Okay.
Sohail and Pasha. We competed and we did this, and without giving any reasons, the award was given to Naqvi Siddiqui. So 10 years passed, and we don't know where the project was. Come Benazir's first government, Khaja Shahid Hussain, who was the Secretary Culture under Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, and who had gone into exile and opened a bookshop in London, he came back as Secretary Culture after that. So he floated another competition in December 89, that with the change of parameters, the design provided by Naqvi Siddiqui is not
Okay.
feasible, and we are asking from the same 5 architects a new design based on the parameters that we are setting in. So they gave a very long parameters. They called for a juror from the British Council help, Robert Taverner, Bath University professor, and they constituted a committee in Pakistan. And the competition was held, and we won the
You won it,
competition.
yeah.
We won the competition. Naqvi Siddiqui refused to bring in a new design. They said our old design stands.
Okay.
So that design is now the Sir Syed Center.
In F9 Park.
Yeah. Okay. That and National Gallery was given then to, by Naqvi Siddiqui. So build that. So that is when the whole process started. As soon as she came, she left. So with her, Khaja Sahab went back to England too. Project, we had got the project, everything was there, we had signed everything, but now we didn't have the site. The site was a cultural complex that had Doxiard had designed was the National Art Gallery, National Theatre. Behind that is the National Library, which is already built,
Okay.
which is behind the Prime Minister's Secretariat. Then it was the Museum of Antiquities, and then it was Cultural Heritage Museum and Armed Forces Museum.
Okay.
And it ended behind the Supreme Court building. And there was a square where all cultural activity would take place, which would humanize the governance.
Okay.
So finally, I think Fariduddin was the chairman who gave me a site on F9 Park. Anyway, I designed the building there, and Benazir's government came back. And along with that, Khaja Sahab came back. When he came back, first thing he did was he called me. He said, "What happened to the National Art Gallery?" I said, "They have given me a site which is in F9 Park. Can you show me the designs?" I said, "Okay." So I took it to the secretary. I showed him the design, and he says, "Are you happy with the?" I said, "I'm happy with the design. I'm not happy with the site." Why? I said, "It has to be close to the citadel. It has to be close to the government. It has to humanize governance. A building of culture would do that." So he says, "Okay, you have any site in mind?" I said, "Yes." So I brought him to this present site. I wanted it on the Jinnah Avenue front, but CDS said, no, from here you can target the presidency. So you cannot. So I said, "Okay, give me this site." So this is how we got this site.
So at least it took you 27 years, but you were able to
Yeah, I mean,
add.
by this time it was now 96 when we laid the foundation. And Kishwar Naeem was the DG. There was some tussle going on between Ahmed Raza Pasha and Rana Sheikh, who were going to be the Secretary Culture. So he went to Secretary Defense and she stayed. We had a very funny foundation laying ceremony. We had two cultural secretaries and two advisors to the Prime Minister, and each fighting with each other. Anyway, we did that, but there was no money. So
But still,
anyway,
you were successful in building that.
yeah,
Great
but these are the
monument.
trials and tribulations of, okay, you get only 20 lakh rupees for 3 months. So CDA is supervising it. It doesn't even come out of the ground with 20 lakh rupees. So by the time we got to a place in 2001 or 2 where there was a grey structure standing there, there was no money.
Yeah.
And then Musharraf gets attacked on road going back from the presidency to his residence at Chaknala.
Yeah.
So he started flying to the presidency by helicopter. And that's when he noticed this grey structure. And he said, what is this warehouse looking structure next to the seat of government? So they wrote a small booklet in which said, it should be demolished because you can be targeted from here. So Secretary Culture, then Jilani Saab called me and he said, this is what is happening. We want to save the building. Can you do anything? I said, just give me 2-3 days. I'll prepare a report and I'll present it to the president. He said, you will have about 2 minutes or less than 2 minutes to present.
Okay.
So I said, okay. So I brought the model out to the dining room. I called Nasir Malik, who was the PTV chief cameraman, who was an NCA class fellow, who did design but was more interested in cameras and all this. So he became a photographer for PTV, retired from there. And I asked him, I need your help. So he came there. We placed the model on the dining table, and he said, okay, do you have a disc on which the microwave revolves? I said, yeah, we have a microwave. So we brought the disc. We put the model on that. I held the model at the corner with one finger, and I revolved it around while he had a camera, and he took the video out of that.
Okay.
So we did that. And then I took photographs of the grey structure, and from the same angle, the photographs of the model. And I put those pictures. This is what you are looking at now, but once it is finished, this is what it looked like. It was 17 minutes, the whole presentation.
Really?
And then he said, this is beautiful. How soon can we finish this? We know that in ACNAC, if you say 15 months, the tranches become 3 months. If you say 1 year, you get all the money.
Okay.
So we said we can finish it in one year. He said, okay, give them all the money. Naeem was appointed by Musharraf. He was given all the money. And Secretary Jilani called CDA chairman on the site and told him that we withdraw the supervision of this project from you. We will give it to Suhail and Pasha. They'll supervise the whole thing.
Okay.
And you get out. So new tenders were floated, the whole thing was done. We knew we couldn't finish it in 1 year, but we finished it in 1 year and 8 months or something like that. So from 5 July something, we finished it in August 2007, and the inauguration took place.
It's a great job. I mean, apart from the design, the story of building that place is also very interesting for
I
you.
always said that an architect must have an elephant-sized patience because it takes a lot of effort. It's not your land, it's not your money, it's not your project, but you are the custodian
Yes.
to make sure that everything is done right and in time and in the money that it is supposed to be. And ultimately, you enjoy or the success or you suffer the failure.
Yes. That's true.
You know, when I do a house for somebody and I go for the first time and the husband says, my wife designed it. So I'm there. So I said, you know, architects say if the house is not built properly, they say the contractor spoiled it. So you are saying that's the same thing. You like the house so much that you don't want to give it the, you know, so.
But there's also another very important building of state life which you have designed.
Yeah.
It's very peculiar and beautiful structure.
Yeah.
They call it, scroll minaret design, something like that.
I was, when we were asked to do this competition for this project also, and I was looking for any building that we have in the Muslim world which is tall, and the only building which is tall is a minaret. So I took the minaret and I put 9 minarets, you know, like this is a square, so if you will, three minarets, three, and there's one in the middle. So each one of them is a minaret, but they get stopped at 5th floor or 9th floor or 11th or 18th floor. So that's how. So it's abstraction of the minaret into multiple minarets to make it into a building that can be used. Minaret can't be used. But here, the minaret has to be large enough to accommodate a floor of space for at least 50 people, you know, to work in there. And so the design evolved in that way now. Even the structural engineer who had designed the structure, when it came and these top ones, you know, the domical structures came into form, he said, I didn't know it would look like this. So, because he was doing it in a two-dimensional way, he was designing a slab only, which was given to him. But he didn't realize that it has come out 5 feet on either side, and it's wrapping around into a form which is reminiscent of a dome.
That also remind me of another aspect of architecture and interdisciplinary art forms. I was just looking one of your interviews in which you refer to architecture as music, frozen music, or poetry in material form.
It's a statement by Minoru Yamasaki, architect, Japanese architect, who designed the music academy in Oberlin College, where my daughter studied for her graduation. And it's a building for music, and you can see the way he painted the facade. It was almost like music. So it is, you know, the NBC did the interview when I said architecture is frozen music, and they cut it there. It looks like it's my statement, but I was quoting Yamasaki, who says architecture is frozen music, which is true, but it's not my statement.
Yeah, but you were referring to in an interview, so
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
Secondly, you're a poet as well. You have composed poetry both in English and Urdu, and you have done paintings as well.
Yeah.
So just tell us a few things about that as well.
Yeah, as I said, I was painting even when I was 12, 13 years old. Even earlier than that, I was maybe 5, 6 years old, and my mother would give me a pillowcase to enlarge a small flower that she had found, to enlarge it. So I could enlarge it so that it would be at the corner of the thing, and this was probably my sister's jays or something that she was making. So the women would come and stitch on top of that. So I was doing that. And by the time I was 13, I was copying masters. Like Rembrandt for me was the easiest painter to copy because of the light and shadow is so distinct. Later on, I discovered it was the most difficult. But I used to do that. The other thing which is very childlike is that I would make the size of the painting according to the book that I was copying from. So if the painting was 5 feet by 5 feet, I was making it only by 10 inches by 10 inches or something like that. So after NCA, then I, got to know a little bit more about how to really do a painting. So I did. Poetry, I started somewhere in 65, and it developed over the year. I write in English and Urdu and a variety of local language, which could be Hindko, Punjabi, Saraiki, Multani, or whatever. Wherever I, as say, ghat ka pani piya, so picked up the language a little bit. I have that facility, even though my own, none of these languages in which I write is my mother tongue. It's my mother's side would be Hindko, my father's side is Pashto. So the whole thing is different.
This is your poetry book. This is Tulip in Sand Dunes. I would also request you to maybe recite one of your poems for our viewers.
Sure. Just yesterday, we gathered to make it known that I, for once, should lower my sails and drift away. Just yesterday, we gathered to make it known that I, for once, should lower my sails and drift away. And if, by chance, I find myself found and home, then I should pride myself for having lowered the sails and not be ashamed that the winds took their toll and found me my home. But if by chance I find myself lost and far, far away from home, in that case I shall pride myself for having deliberately compromised and lost. That I, for once, never had a destiny as an aim. Having lost myself is enough. I need not find myself a home. But behind all this is the honest arrogance of a youth eating away at a child's dream and an old man's soul. I have no way of finding out. Should I fight the winds or lower the sails? Will I survive when the child cries and the old man dies? Just yesterday, they gathered to make it known.
Beautiful, beautiful, fantastic. So are you still writing or you have...
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah. So we can expect some other collection of your work?
Yeah.
Okay. What kind of paintings you paint? I mean, landscape?
There's always a figure in my painting, like you see there's a figure there, and it might get camouflaged in the abstraction of the whole thing, but there is always a human figure there. Yeah.
And what do you think, I mean, if you're doing one genre of art form, like architecture, painting, is it always helpful to know about other art forms as well? That can give you more.
If you have the book and if you look at the drawings,
Yeah.
you'll find that my sketchbook, which butter paper sketches, you'll find some poetry there. I might have copied Faz or something, a line or so, or it might be Rubai by me.
Okay.
there is one in this, and what I wanted to say that when I got stuck in design, I took refuge in mostly in poetry. So I was doodling there, and I start writing something. If nothing comes to me, as I said, Faz or Zadi or somebody, I would put down. There's this four-liner in there. तुम्हें क्यों जिंदगी आज से बेजां है? तुम अपने घर से बाहर चल के देखो.
Wow.
जो मन माने किसी की बात सुन लो, जो दिल चाहे तो अपनी बात कह दो. तुम्हें क्यों जिंदगी आज से बेजां है? तुम अपने घर से बाहर चल के देखो.
Wow, wow.
So it's there.
Yeah. If you just want to live in your comfort zone and you don't go out and interact with other people and life becomes different. Yeah. It's a very good message in your poetry. You have done wonderful work in architecture, and I mean, if you have still one desire to do something in architecture, one kind of building you still want to make, is there any?
I would like to do another symbolic building, maybe.
Okay.
I would like to do one. I would like to accept another challenge before I call it a day.
For 27 years, like National Art Gallery or some little challenge?
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Louis Kahn died. He had designed the Roosevelt Island monument. I had seen the drawings and everything, and he died, and nothing happened. And then I was in New York with my wife's hand surgery, and we met a couple, and they said, you know, that Roosevelt monument is built. After his death, the city got together $10 million, and they said, we have to build it. So they built it. It's beautiful.
And what one advice or message you would like to give to the young architects in Pakistan, if any, if you would like to?
Professor Bernie, who was my head of the department in UAT, when I graduated, he said, come and teach. So I said, sir, I don't know enough to come and teach. Either I'll be learning to teach or teaching to learn. Either way, those 22 students would be ruined. So I don't want to do that. It took me 45 years before I could step into a classroom and talk about architecture to students. Fear. But then you realize that they know a lot less than you do. So you can fib a lot. But I see today's student is much more aware, but a little more materialistic. We didn't care if we got 550 rupees a month and were told to work the whole night and come back again 7 o'clock in the morning. Otherwise your salary would be cut for that day. You still went because you were in love with what you were doing, not the money. But a lot of beautiful work is coming out of young people. So there's a tremendous hope. I hope they stay online and not follow, some of the Western traditions, and keep their own tradition and follow their own tradition. When I asked Faz, what can I learn from your poetry that I could use in my architecture? And he said folk and myth. You see, I was asking him about, that in order to make him understand what I want to get from him, that when you say dard ke kasni bazeb bajati nikle, so bazeb to kasni nahi hote. So why did you say this? So he says, when somebody dances against their will, वो कासनी हो जाएंगे. चांदी के हैं, हो जाएंगे कासनी. Because kasni is the color of pain. When we say I'm feeling blue in English,
Yeah.
meaning I'm sad,
Yeah.
you see. So Kasni is kind of a blue,
Okay.
you know.
Interesting.
So he said, you can go and look for folk and myth, and this is what I try.
But his own poetry doesn't have much folk and myth.
No, but I mean, taking this istara from the folk and myth of Kasni being, color
It's
of
his
sadness.
imagination.
Or Dil ke Rukhsar, for example, he says. You know?
दिल के रुखसार पे इस वक्त तेरी हाथ ने हाथ.
Yeah, याद का हाथ.
That's imagination.
याद का हाथ होता है नहीं होता. दिल रुखसार होते हैं, दिल के नहीं होते. But this is Faiz who does it.
Pasha, it was wonderful talking to you, and we had a
My
very,
pleasure.
very meaningful
Absolutely my
conversation
pleasure.
with you.
My pleasure.
Thank you very much for being with us this
My
evening.
pleasure.
So viewers, thank you very much for watching us. See you next Sunday, same time.